A flurry of communication involving the Koreas and key regional players gives the impression of a tangled web as Seoul seeks to get closer to the very nations that Pyongyang is relying on. And following all the recent focus on Russia, China has moved to the center of the stage in this unfolding drama. It emerged via North Korean state media Sunday that leader Kim-Jong-un has sent a letter to Chinese President Xi Jinping, reaffirming his commitment to advancing close cooperation with Beijing in line with the requirements of the new era. And this letter was itself a reply to his Chinese counterpart's earlier message, congratulating the North on its 75th founding anniversary. But at the same time, there's the prospect of Xi Jinping heading to South Korea for the first time in a decade. Also Sunday, a senior South Korean government official revealed that the office of President Yoon-Suk-Yeol will set out to arrange a visit by Xi to the south. This was after the Chinese leader said Saturday, during a 26-minute meeting with South Korean Prime Minister Han Duck-soo, that he would seriously consider a visit to Seoul. And while the trip's not expected as soon as this year, the South Korean sides confirmed it will be discussing the matter with China in earnest through diplomatic channels. This matters because Seoul sees a visit by Xi as an important turning point for South Korea-China relations. He hasn't been to the south since 2014, after which there was a serious souring of ties as Beijing targeted South Korea economically over Seoul's military cooperation with the US. The South Korean government's also prioritizing the resumption of the Korea-Japan-China summit, which has been suspended since 2019, with more talks on that happening on the sidelines of the ongoing Asian Games in China, which is what facilitated the meeting between Han and Xi. So, North Korea must be looking on with some concern, although it has been getting a lot closer to Russia lately. During a press conference at the UN headquarters in New York over the weekend, Russian Foreign Minister Sergei-Lavrov said he will visit North Korea next month as part of follow-up measures to the recent summit between their leaders. Kim Jong-un also invited Russian President Vladimir-Putin to visit, an invitation that was accepted, and Lavrov may pave the way for that to happen. Another statement carried by North Korean state media Monday strongly criticized South Korea's president for making hysterical remarks, referring to Yoon-Suk-Yeol's recent warning in a UN General Assembly speech against military cooperation between Pyongyang and Moscow. The North claims Yoon was voluntarily acting as a servile trumpeter and loudspeaker for the US. But then, South Korea has been talking to Russia too. Yes, things haven't exactly been rosy between Seoul and Moscow since that latest Kim-Putin-summit, with complaints issued from both sides. But as recently as September 10th, South Korean Foreign Minister Park Jin was sitting down for a meeting with Sergei-Lavrov, the very man who'll soon go to Pyongyang. And that's yet another example of entanglement, as Park was able to stress to Lavrov that Russia-North Korea ties should advance in the direction of contributing to peace and stability in the Korean Peninsula and the East Asia region while complying with UN Security Council resolutions. Their meeting took place on the sidelines of this month's G20 meeting in India, and we can expect further opportunities for Seoul and Moscow officials to talk again, given their active global engagement. North Korea remains in a much stronger position with Russia for now. After all, it supports Moscow's war in Ukraine, unlike South Korea. Pyongyang also has a close, if occasionally complicated, relationship with China. Yet, it won't like any kind of ties between its allies and South Korea, including Xi referring to the South as China's inseparable partner country, while expressing his plan for a strategic partnership. And so, once again, Seoul has been invited to that diplomatic dance of staying close to its like-minded allies, particularly the US, without alienating China, and perhaps Russia too. Do you think that's possible? Share your own views in the comments and help us keep you updated with a like, a subscribe, and/or a share. They all count.